On today's show,
unfortunately, there is this historic stigma that has been looming over community colleges for years now, that it is for students who don't measure up or who aren't good enough. I think more students are starting to embrace community college, but there is this perception that community colleges are more so of an alternative or a fallback.
Yeah.
Whereas it can actually be utilized as a means into, post-secondary education.
Yeah.
And it's also an opportunity for students to be able to save money because we offer the same courses at a fraction of the cost. We also are able to provide students with smaller class sizes as well. So what students will find is that they're going to take the same freshman English class that they would take at a four-year institution, especially within the state of Florida. And they're not going to pay as much for it. And it's more than likely that their teachers, or their instructors, I should say, will know their name. So students will find that at a community college, they're going to probably get a lot more collaboration from, the staff members that are in place in order to guide them through their process and to really help them to persist to graduation.
Welcome to Education Today. I'm your host, Solanke. I spent 15 years in the secondary classroom teaching English, reading, and social studies. I've also been on the other side as a parent of 3 children who have completed the formal schooling years of kindergarten through 12th grade and are now in the college and career stage. Now I'm here to have conversations with teachers, administrators, school staff, students, and parents about all things education. Join me as I cover current topics in education from preschool through to college, career, and beyond. All right, welcome to today's show. Today we are talking all about the power of the community college. And my guest today is Dr. Simone Jenkins, who is the newly appointed Dean of Associate in Science Programs at Hillsborough Community College in Brandon. Welcome to the show, Dr. Jenkins.
Thank you so much for having me.
And congratulations on your new appointment.
Thank you so much. I am really getting settled into my role as dean, and I'm super excited to really implement a lot of different initiatives and actually carry out some stuff that HCC already has put in place. So really looking forward to what's to come.
And you have a background in K-12 education, because this is how I know you. I know you because many eons ago we taught together at a middle school. You were the reading coach and I was a classroom teacher. So you do have a background in K through 12.
Yes. And, honestly, I do believe that my background in K through 12 education is what helps me in many respects with regards to how I work with students, and then also understanding their pathway as they come into the community college. Just having that background really serves as a great foundation.
Yeah. And you've held many other roles in higher education before getting to this role, correct?
Yes, I have actually served as an academic advisor. That was actually my first stint with Hillsborough Community College, or HCC. And that is where I initially got introduced into the community college realm, and really got acquainted with how it just mirrors, especially, within the freshman and sophomore year, or I guess, you could look at it as your 1,000 or 2,000 level courses, how it articulates so seamlessly to, the college level. Of course, while I was at USF, I had the opportunity to teach. So I was a teaching assistant. I was an instructor. I also served as a research assistant. So that afforded me the opportunity to travel and to conduct qualitative research and mixed method studies to investigate underserved, underrepresented, and marginalized populations. And then I had the opportunity to return to HCC, accepted a position as the assistant dean of associate in science degree programs. And I served in that role for a little over 2 years, about 2.5 years, before getting the interim dean position in associate in science degree programs at the Dale Mabry campus. And then the opportunity came about for me to be a full-time dean. And that has really allowed me to see just multiple facets of higher education, both in a role where I'm working in collaboration with faculty, staff, with students, to ensure the success of the student, essentially.
Yeah. There's a lot of experience there. That's good. So let me tell you my experience with community college. So I've been teaching high school for the past 11 years. One thing that I've noticed is when I speak to my seniors or to their parents or to former, if I bump into former students who would be in the first or second year of university college, when I ask them, if for my seniors, when I ask them, what do you plan to do next year? Or for my former students, when I ask them, what are you doing? If they're going to a four-year university, they proudly announce that they're either going there or they're there. If they're going into the armed forces or the workplace, they proudly announce that. But those students who are going to community college, what happens is they will say, they'll either add like the word just, well, I'm just going to community college for now, or they will say, well, I'm going to community college, and then they'll add like a disclaimer, but it's just for now until I get this in place, or it's just for now, and then I'm going to transfer here. It's almost like there's like a shame attached to it, and I think that's such a disservice to community college, and it's such a shame because I believe it is a hidden gem, I would say, in our community. Would you agree with that?
I definitely agree with you 100%. And you are absolutely correct. Unfortunately, there is this historic stigma that has been looming over community colleges for years now, that it is for students who don't measure up or who aren't good enough. Yeah. And I think, unfortunately, that has started to carry over. I think more students are starting to embrace community college, but you have a lot of students, especially those who typically are in your advanced placement courses, honors courses, those who are maybe on the pathway to the four-year institutions and maybe didn't achieve the goals that they wanted to. There is this perception that community colleges are more so of an alternative or a fallback, whereas it can actually be utilized as a means into post-secondary education. And it's also an opportunity for students to be able to save money because we offer the same courses at a fraction of the cost. And so we also are able to provide students with smaller class sizes as well. So what students will find is that they're going to take the same freshman English class that they would take at a four-year institution, especially within the state of Florida. And they're not going to pay as much for it. And it's more than likely that their teachers, or their instructors, I should say, will know their name, because it'll provide them with an opportunity to build a relationship with them. And, those professors, those instructors, they're going to really take the time to utilize their office hours to really help students. They're going to reach out to students a lot more quickly. We also have an early alert system as well. So if we say, for example, if we see a student who hasn't been engaged in their coursework, whether it's online or in person, then it'll provide an alert so that the instructor or the professor can actually reach out to that student and connect with them. And then we also have academic support services that also serve as a means to be able to connect with the students. So students will find that at a community college, they're going to probably get a lot more collaboration from their instructors, from professors, as well as, the staff members that are in place in order to guide them through their process and to really help them to persist to graduation.
Yeah. What's interesting is, like I said, I've been teaching high school for 11 years, and there are many kids who went up to four-year colleges who essentially crashed and burnt, who probably would have been better served to do the first 2 years of community college, in the smaller classes with that one-on-one help from advisors that they don't get in a larger university. And you also mentioned saving money. That is a huge deal. And it also ties into the fact that community college also offers dual enrollment programs for high school students, correct?
Yes, that is absolutely correct. And so to touch on the financial aspect of it, one of the things that we are able to help students with is finding a plan that most aligns with what they need. As of course, we offer scholarship opportunities. We also provide them with the same grants, the Pell Grant, for example, for those who may not have the financial means to be able to pursue their degree. But then there's also merit-based scholarships as well. And, the same opportunities they would have at a four-year institution, they could have at a community college as well. So and again, at a fraction of the cost. So they're not utilizing as much financial aid as they would at a four-year institution.
Yeah.
In addition, at HCC, we actually have a payment plan. And I know the payment plan is called TIPS. I forget what the acronym stands for, but it's an opportunity for, let's say, for example, if the student is able to enroll in their class far enough in advance, then that means that they may not even have to put down any money at all. So they just, make payments. They can set it up for automatic deduction.
Yeah.
And it's not such a huge financial hit if, in fact, let's say if they don't qualify for a grant or a scholarship, maybe within that first semester, they can utilize the payment plan. And meanwhile, they're not racking up any type of student debt, no student loans at all. And then, of course, you also mentioned dual enrollment, which I strongly encourage for high school students, because what this enables students to do is that they can actually take their college courses while they're in high school. They can do it at no cost to them because of the arrangement that the Hillsborough County School District, or any school district for that matter, that has a dual enrollment program, typically has an arrangement with the college that they're working in collaboration with. And I have seen students who have earned associate of arts degrees, their associate in science degrees while they were in high school.
Yeah.
And so upon graduation, they are able to take 100% of those credits with them when they transfer either to typically a four-year institution if they earn the degree while they're in high school.
Yeah.
And it does cut out, 2 years worth of work, and they've done this free of charge. So now we're looking at additional measures that will save, parents money. It'll save students money. The only thing that I do caution students with regards to doing this in terms of earning their degree while they are in high school is that when they go to a four-year institution, they are going to be taking their high-level courses. Those are the 3,000 level, 4,000 level courses, also known as your junior and senior level courses.
Yeah.
So it's just good to be mentally prepared for the amount of work that is required.
Yeah.
And then also understanding that whatever courses that they take are actually prerequisites and serve as, I guess, they provide the content that's necessary in order for them to succeed in those junior and senior level courses. So we just want to make sure students are prepared for that. So there are just so many opportunities for students to, achieve the goal of going to college, and doing so at either low cost or no cost if they decide to choose that dual enrollment path. So, and of course, as academic advisors, counselors, deans, we're all there to assist students in helping them to make the decision that actually best aligns with what they're wanting to do in the future.
Yeah. And then the state of Florida, I believe, does have a program in place so that those students who graduate from high school and matriculate into a community college and earn their associate's degree can now seamlessly transition into one of our state four-year colleges. Is that correct?
That is correct, yes. And those credits are accepted by the four-year institution, any one of the state colleges, four-year colleges or universities. And of course, we assist the students with, selecting their courses to make sure that they are transferable. But typically 100% of the courses are transferable so that it enables them to have that seamless transfer.
Yeah. So I mentioned that I believe that the community college is an underrated gem in our society, in our community. Now we've talked about dual enrollment programs that save families money, associate's degree programs that will help students to transition into four-year colleges, and that offer smaller class sizes, and one-on-one support. When I was reading, there was an article about you in The Patch in our local papers and magazines, really, talking about your new appointment. And one thing that it stated was your commitment to creating workforce programs. So could you tell us about that?
Well, absolutely. With regards to workforce programs and how these actually differ from some of our, let's say, for example, our associate in science degree programs, just to give a little bit of background, with the associate in science degree programs, those are the 2-year degree programs where students are taking their traditional typically anywhere from 3 to 5 credit courses in order to get their degree. And then as a result, they're able to go into the workforce. And the awesome thing about that is, the student isn't spending as much time in, maybe a 4-year institution. And because of the credentials that they actually graduate with, they're able to make a substantial amount of money upon graduation, and they've only gone to school for 2 years.
Yeah.
In addition to that, we also have workforce programs. So let's say, for example, one of the most, I guess, heavily popular programs or even career pathways would be Tampa Electric, for example. There's a huge need for linemen. That's one of the ones that comes to mind now.
Yeah.
And so that may not be a traditional program where you have students who are sitting in classrooms and maybe they're engaged in, more of an experiential learning, like they would in a traditional classroom.
Yeah.
We would maybe have poles that are set up in a field, and we actually have individuals who are, climbing those poles, or there are demonstrations that are taking place. And then as a result, they are, able to transition into Tampa Electric's, workforce.
Yeah.
And so the workforce programs more so are going to be more specialized. So you're looking at welding programs, you're looking at automotive programs. Those are the ones where, again, some of them are underrated, but the demand is so significant. And then the compensation continues to increase because the demand for these positions also continues to increase. And so a lot of times these positions that, may have been frowned upon 10 years ago, or where people may have thought, oh, well, that's, not good enough for me.
Yeah.
Now they're really affording huge opportunities for students, especially those who are active, for those who, unlike me, are not afraid of heights
Yeah.
and, would love to engage in that type of work. And so I'm looking for opportunities for students, especially those who want to stay within the area and really want to commit to a career or a pathway that aligns with their core values, what they like to do, their strengths. Because I think sometimes what ends up happening is that, students may pick something just because maybe it sounds good, or maybe they feel like they're going to make a whole lot of money,
Yeah.
but it may not play to their strength, and it may not be, in alignment with what, they think it is.
Yeah.
And so by exposing students to workforce programs and actually increasing what we have to offer at HCC, we're able to meet the needs of a lot of the employers in the area. And as a result, we're meeting those demands. And then students who graduate from our programs are able to, as I mentioned, make a substantial amount of money,
Yeah.
and they're able to do so in a fraction of the time, because traditional workforce programs they may not even take 2 years. You may be 9 months as opposed to a 2-year period. So that is definitely one of the initiatives that I'm looking to implement, and to really examine programs that are needing additional education, or even community partners, business partners, industry partners who would be open to partnering with Hillsborough Community College in order to create these programs and get their, workers qualified as well.
Yeah. Now, would the workforce programs be the same as a certification program, or do you have separate certification programs also?
Now, we do have separate certification programs, and those are, I think they're amazing. And maybe I'm biased, but I think they're amazing because of the fact that they serve so many purposes. And so our certification programs, we have college credit certificates. That's one of our ways that students can get certifications. And typically our college credit certificates range from 12 credit hours, which is typically 4 courses that are 3 credits. And some of them are as many as, 32 credits, no more than that typically, because again, a lot of students will utilize a certification and add it on to their main degree, whether it's an Associate of Arts degree or if it's Associate in Science degree. And just to give an example, let's say if you have a student who is pursuing their degree in business administration, but they want to add on the certificate for entrepreneurship, they want to get a little bit more specialized. And perhaps they may want to add on an additional certificate that focuses on technology or IT or database design, something along those lines. It
Yeah.
provides students with the versatility to be able to add on additional qualifications to their degree,
Yeah.
therefore making themselves more marketable when they get ready to enter the workforce.
Yeah.
So it just provides them with so many opportunities. In addition to that, let's say, for example, we have somebody who wants to change their career. They already have a bachelor's degree, but they may decide that they want to go down a different path. And we commonly see this with, someone, actually, as a matter of fact, I had someone who was in the medical field and then decided that, they were suffering from burnout and they wanted to change to a different field. So they were looking at cybersecurity. And as a result, because they already had that, bachelor's degree, they were able to go and obtain a certification that would allow them to pursue their career in cybersecurity. And then those degrees, such as, cybersecurity, more of the technological and IT based degree programs, they have certifications within them, such as A+ certification.
Oh, yeah.
There's also CompTIA is another one that are really hot commodities and are in high demand from our employers. So when the employers see that the students have these certifications, they really work hard to try to get these students or recruit them to their places of employment. And what's even better is that when it comes down to the specific certifications, such as the A+ certification or the CompTIA certification, HCC students can actually take those certification exams for free at no cost to
Oh,
them.
wow.
Yeah,
That's a huge savings.
absolutely.
Fun fact, many years ago, 2007, I actually attended HCC for 6 months to do my alternative teacher certification program.
Oh, wonderful.
That is the route that I took into teaching through HCC. I already had a degree, but I needed to do teacher certification, and I did the program at HCC, which I think still exists.
It does, yes. That is our Educator Preparation Institute, or EPI program.
That's correct, yeah.
And we still have the EPI program. That program, of course, is very near and dear to my heart because I too went through an alternative certification program through the school district, but I don't have my bachelor's degree in education. Mine is actually in business administration with an emphasis in management information system.
Yeah.
And as a result of the alternative certification programs or something like EPI, that led me down the pathway to becoming an educator. And so it provides us with an opportunity to be able to get individuals who are seeking to change their careers. They are really passionate about becoming educators, becoming teachers, and we're able to teach them classroom management and provide them with all of the necessary preparation to thrive in the classroom, but also to, pass all of those exams that, teachers are required to take. And another thing that we're looking to do and to branch out is to also offer trainings, teacher trainings, because again, teaching, we're having to constantly, engage in professional development so that we can renew certificates and so forth. And we want to make that process as easy as possible for teachers.
Yeah.
One initiative that I'm specifically looking to do is to actually seek grant funding that will help to allow teachers to be able to participate in our trainings at no cost to them.
Oh, wow.
And as a result, they'll be able to renew their teaching certificates while also gaining knowledge of a specific content area or maybe even a skill that they're trying to enhance, but it won't cost them anything. And hopefully we'll even be able to get grant funding that may even provide them with a stipend of some sort for taking that training. So anything that we can do to support our teachers, we're all for it because, having been a teacher, I understand the commitment, the passion that's necessary in order to get our students on their pathway to pursuing their ultimate purpose.
Yeah.
And we want to support the teachers in their journey.
Yeah, that would actually be amazing because currently a lot of us are spending a substantial sum actually to a third-party company to obtain courses to renew our certificates. So if we could do it locally, within our own community college. That would be amazing.
Oh,
Yeah.
I would love to provide that. So that is definitely something that I'm working on as well.
Yeah. So we really talked about so many different facets of education that a community college provides to those who live in the area. We've talked about dual enrollment program for high school students. We've talked about the AA degree for high school graduates, workforce programs, certification programs, teacher certification classes. One thing I haven't heard you mention is nursing. Does Hillsborough Community College have any type of nursing program?
Oh my goodness, yes. So, and I am just mesmerized by the nursing program. It actually is run by one of our amazing deans and a whole team of professors who have served as nurses, and also the assistant dean, associate deans, and so forth. It's a whole team of people who do such a phenomenal job in educating our future healthcare providers. And one of the things that I absolutely love about the program is, and also like a lot of our degree programs at HCC that are associate in science degrees, is that the students get to engage in experiential learning, meaning that it's hands-on.
Yeah.
So let's say, for example, if one of the nursing students is taking surgical technician courses, then they're actually going to be in a classroom that is modeled like an operating room.
Oh, wow.
So they're going to have to scrub in. So one of the lessons they're going to have to learn, possibly the first module, they're going to have to learn to scrub in. They're going to be taught by an actual nurse how to go about doing that, and
Yeah.
a nurse who has experience in that operating room.
Yeah.
And then they're going to have to learn how not to, what they call, think it's called cross the plank, to where
Oh.
they're not cross-contaminating or
Oh, I see.
putting themselves at risk to get bacteria back on their hands before they're going into the actual operating room. In addition to that, our nursing programs are working in collaboration with the EMT program, the Emergency Medical Technician program,
Oh, okay.
where our students get the opportunity to, they're learning how to become EMTs or paramedics.
Yeah.
So what they would do, especially pre-COVID, they would actually, take practice runs with the ambulance. I think they still do that. They would take a practice one with the ambulance and they would be timed. And they would also do exercises where they would have a patient, or, of course, what we would know as mannequins, but of course known to the students as patients.
Mm-hmm.
And they would actually have to go through the exercise of picking the patient up from wherever 911 was called. So there are actual classrooms that are modeled like an apartment,
Oh,
whereas
wow.
maybe somebody may have slipped and fell. There's another classroom setting that's modeled like a restaurant or a bar and grill,
Wow.
where again, they have to practice, kind of picking these patients up and, how they would go about doing it without further injuring the patient. And then they have to put them in the ambulance, and then they take them to the emergency room where the nursing students are waiting to go through the triage process and assessing the patient to see what the needs are. And so, these patients, they actually bleed, their heart beat, they will flatline, and it's an authentic experience to provide these students with real time, real life experiences, so that when they do engage in their clinicals, which is of course a part of their curriculum,
Mm-hmm.
but it's also the first step in transitioning into nursing. So their clinical experience, they're in the hospitals, actually engaging in the same activities that they have in the classroom, but they're less likely to panic if
Yeah.
something happens because they've already experienced this in the classroom.
Yeah.
And plus they have nurses who are their, clinical instructors who will further guide them the process and, really lead them to success essentially, because again, they're dealing with real life patients at this point. But it's a phenomenal program. And then recently, we just completed the process. So now we actually have a Bachelor of Science degree in nursing. So
Oh, wow.
yes, definitely. So it's exciting because now when our students complete their AS degree or their Associate in Science degree in
Mhm.
nursing, because of the fact now Bachelor of Science degrees are required, or the BSN is required for anyone to practice nursing.
Yeah.
So one of the, I guess, drawbacks that we had is that students would have to transfer to other institutions in order to convert their RN degree into a BSN. So now they're able to do that at a community college that now awards a baccalaureate degree. So now they'll be able to meet that requirement. And if they want to do online courses, they can do it online. So now it's also convenient for that student.
So they could work as an RN and then continue with their BSN.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So would they essentially be there for 4 years?
Yes, essentially they would be. So they would actually complete the prerequisite courses and then continue on with the AS degree to get, become an RN, and then move on to the BSN program. And they're finished, within that time period. And then they become, nurses that have the BSN. And it also positions them, if they want to continue on to become nurse practitioners and get their master's degrees. Some nurses continue on to, return back to the classroom to instruct, because it's so valuable having, those nurses in the classroom. And then others go on to engage in research, so they get their PhDs. Yeah.
That's an amazing program to have a BSN in nursing in a community college. That's really amazing. So
it's exciting.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for basically selling community college to us today and helping to remove that stigma that for some people, not for everyone, is attached to community college. You've given us a wealth of information about all the amazing programs that you offer the community, from high school students all the way up to graduates, essentially, who want to do certification. There's just a wealth of resources that are available here. So thank you so much for sharing it.
Oh, well, thank you so much for having me. And I just love the opportunity to be able to, share resources that can, change anyone's life, especially, for the better, because I know we're all on that journey, and anything that we can do to help in the process of someone taking that journey, we're happy to do so.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Dr. Jenkins.
Thank you.
Well, thank you for listening to this episode of Education Today. We'll be back next time with more current topics on all things education. In the meantime, you can email any questions or comments you have about the show to edtodaypodcast@gmail.com. If you enjoy the show, please hit the subscribe button on whichever platform you are listening so we can continue to expand our reach. We are listener supported, so if you're able to make a small monthly donation, you can do so by clicking the Support This Podcast link at the bottom of the show notes. Check out my blog for more about my experiences as a classroom teacher at medium.com/@SOCO. That's medium.com/@SOHKOR. You can also find me on Instagram at SOCO_rights. That's SOHKOR_rights. See you next time, and thank you again for listening.